Let's get right into it. Number 10. The Pavlovian Bell. That bell that rang in school wasn't just about keeping you on schedule. That bell was training for your future 9 to 5. From age 5, you learned to start working when the bell rings, stop when the bell rings, and even eat lunch when the bell tells you to. It's like they installed a little factory foreman in your brain, and it worked. Just look at how many of us still get anxious if we're late to anything. This whole system was designed back in the Industrial Revolution, when factories needed workers who would follow schedules without question. They needed people who would sit quietly in rows, do repetitive tasks, and most importantly, obey the bell. The guy who designed American public schools, Horace Mann, was inspired by the rigid Prussian education system, which was basically modeled after a factory. So next time you feel guilty about being 5 minutes late, remember, that's not your conscience. That's just your old friend Pavlov's bell. The kicker is, the world's wealthiest people don't live by the bell. They don't trade their time for money like it's 1892. But hey, at least you learned how to ask permission to use the bathroom. That's definitely more useful than learning about passive income. Number 9. The hard work pays off delusion. Your teachers said if you work really hard, you'll be successful. That's about as accurate as saying if you stare at a microwave long enough, you'll become a chef. Bob the janitor works 12-hour shifts, literally breaking his back mopping floors. Steve the CEO spends his day in meetings, occasionally nodding while checking his phone. Steve makes 300 times more money. Your school taught you to be Bob, not Steve. They trained you to trade time for money, hour by hour, like a human vending machine. Real wealth isn't built by working harder, it's built by working smarter. Jeff Bezos doesn't pack Amazon boxes. The rich build systems that earn for them around the clock, using other people's time and other people's money. Your school didn't teach you that. They taught you to get good grades so you could get a good job and work hard until you're 65. Working hard at a dead-end job is like vigorously paddling a boat that's anchored to the dock. You'll get tired, but you won't go anywhere. Your paycheck is not tied to how hard you work. It's tied to how hard you are to replace. A teenager who makes a viral app can make more in a month than a hardworking teacher makes in a decade. It's not fair, but it's reality. The sooner you understand this, the sooner you can stop being Bob and start being Steve. Number 8. The salary ceiling. Your school pushed you toward the biggest trap, the salary mindset. Your guidance counselor told you to study hard to negotiate a better salary. A salary is just a fancy word for a cage. You're literally telling your boss to put a limit on how much money you can make this year. It doesn't matter if you're the most productive person in the company or if you generate $1 million in value. That salary number is your ceiling. Say you're a lawyer making $200,000 a year. Sounds good. But if you're billing clients at $500 per hour and working 50 hours a week, you're generating about $1.3 million for your firm. The other $1.1 million goes into someone else's pocket, someone who doesn't have a salary ceiling. The wealthy don't ask for raises. They create income streams. They build businesses, invest in assets, and create products that earn for them 24/7. Jeff Bezos doesn't have a salary. Elon Musk doesn't have a salary. They own assets that generate wealth. If you're only focused on the next salary bump, you're playing a game designed to keep you comfortable, but never wealthy. Nobody ever got rich by asking for permission to earn more money. Number 7. The casino of fear. Your teachers told you the stock market is basically gambling with your life savings. Meanwhile, that same teacher has their money rotting away in a savings account, earning a fraction of a percent in interest. If you let your money sit in a typical savings account, after inflation, you actually lose purchasing power every year. The real gamble is letting inflation eat your money alive. If you had put $10,000 into a basic S&P 500 index fund 30 years ago, you'd have over $170,000 today. That's not gambling, that's math. Your teacher probably didn't know this because nobody taught them. They were just passing down the same fear their teachers gave them. The same people warning you about the casino of the stock market are the ones playing the real sucker's game, betting their retirement on a pension and Social Security still being there when they need it. The stock market isn't a casino, it's a wealth-building machine. Yes, it goes up and down, but zoom out far enough and the trend only goes one direction, up. Number 6. The risk aversion programming. Remember getting an F in school? It felt like the end of a world. Teachers acted like that grade would haunt you forever. I've never had a job interview where they asked about my 7th grade math test. Schools programmed us to be terrified of failure. One wrong answer and your paper was covered in red ink like a crime scene. Meanwhile, Walt Disney got fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Steve Jobs got kicked out of his own company. Elon Musk blew up so many rockets it became a YouTube genre. These guys failed their way to the top because failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the main ingredient. If you're not failing at something, you're not trying anything new. And if you're not trying anything new, you're not getting rich. School taught you to aim for a perfect score, which is like trying to become a pro basketball player, but being terrified of missing shots. Rich people don't avoid risk, they manage it. They understand that losing money on a failed business is just tuition for their real education. Your school's grading system was the perfect recipe for mediocrity. Number 5. The myth of good debt. You know how schools and banks love telling you that some debt is good debt? That's like saying some poison is good poison because it kills you slower. The biggest lie in personal finance is that mortgages and student loans are magical good debt. In reality, they're just shiny, golden handcuffs. Sure, your student loan got you that degree, but now you're stuck at a soul-crushing job for the next 10 to 20 years just to pay it off. That mortgage got you a nice house, but now you're terrified of quitting your toxic job because that monthly payment has to be made. Banks aren't giving you these loans because they want you to succeed. They're giving you these loans because they want you dependent on your paycheck. The longer you're chained to your job, the more interest they collect. And schools push this good debt narrative because they benefit from it. More student loans means more tuition money for them. Stop pretending there's such a thing as good debt. Debt is a burden, a chain, a limitation on your freedom. The only good debt is the debt you don't have. Number 4. The Austerity Coffin. Your economics teacher told you to save money. Skip the daily coffee, pack your lunch, never eat avocado toast. That's the Austerity Coffin, burying yourself alive by cutting out every small joy in life. If you saved that $5 coffee every day for 40 years, you would have about $73,000. But during those same 40 years, the average house price went up by $400,000. You skipped 14,600 coffees and you still can't afford a down payment. Wealthy people aren't counting saved coffee money. They're building systems that earn for them around the clock. No one ever got rich by switching to store-brand cereal. They got rich by owning the cereal company. The real problem isn't your coffee habit. It's that school taught you to think small about money. They trained you to be a good saver instead of a good earner. It's like trying to fill a swimming pool with a teaspoon. You need a hose. You can't save your way to wealth by cutting $5 expenses. You need to think bigger. Focus on making an extra $500, not saving an extra $5. The austerity mindset has you counting pennies. The abundance mindset has you making dollars. Number 3, the job security exists scam. Your teachers said, get a stable job with benefits. That aged about as well as those permanent record threats. Job security is like believing your cat loves you and isn't just waiting for you to die so it can eat your face. Companies love talking about loyalty when they need you to work overtime, but the moment profits dip, you're as disposable as the motivational posters in the break room. Your entire livelihood depends on an executive who's never met you. That's not security. That's financial Russian roulette. And health insurance that's tied to your job is not a benefit. It's a hostage situation. The only real security comes from owning your own income streams. It's like not putting all your eggs in one basket, especially when that basket belongs to someone who views you as a line item on a spreadsheet. Your employer's HR department isn't called human resources because they value your humanity. It's because they see you as a resource, like printer paper or coffee filters. Number 2, the 401k Mirage. Your 401k is basically a golden cage for your money. Sure, they'll let you put money in, but try taking it out before you're 60, and they'll slap you with penalties that would make a loan shark blush. And those small fees in the fine print are like termites. 1 to 2% doesn't sound like much, but over 30 years, these fees can eat up to a third of your retirement savings. If you invest $100,000 over 30 years with a 7% return, you'd have about $761,000 without fees. But with just a 2% annual fee, you end up with only $432,000. That's over $300,000 of your money going straight to financial firms. Your 401k isn't even really yours. It's a permission slip to maybe access your own money someday. The government can change the rules anytime, pushing back the withdrawal age or changing tax rates. I'm not saying don't use a 401k, especially if your employer matches. That's free money. But treating it as your only retirement plan is putting all your eggs in a basket you can't touch for decades. Number 1, the finish line in the graveyard. The biggest scam is the idea of working until you're 65. Schools teach you life is one big marathon to retirement. Work hard for 40 years, then enjoy your golden years. By the time you hit 65, your knees sound like a bowl of Rice Krispies. You trade your best, most energetic years for a retirement where walking upstairs feels like climbing a mountain. You spend your 20s, 30s, and 40s sitting in a cubicle as your back slowly morphs into the shape of your office chair. Then you finally retire, ready for adventure. Except now your idea of adventure is the early bird special at Denny's. It's like saving your favorite food for when you have no teeth left, or keeping a sports car in the garage until you can't see well enough to drive. Retirement isn't an age. It's a financial number. It's having enough passive income to cover your expenses. That could be at 65, or it could be at 35. The school system never teaches you to build assets or create passive income. They train you to be a good employee who retires when you're practically ready for the cemetery. The finish line doesn't have to be in the graveyard. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.